Hi, I'm Maddie from Permaculture Magazine, and I'm with Jon Young on a Badger set at Applewood Permaculture Centre, and this is a week-long course called Peace, Empowerment and Activating Cultural Emergence. And this has been an unusual week because we've had participants from all over the world, but we've also had another participant with 4 legs, and she has become really a part of this whole group, and she's given us some teaching. And I wondered, as she can't speak because she is a dog, if you could perhaps tell our permaculture media friends, what has the dog brought to the group, and what have we learnt from the dog? You know, what has been the gift of dog, and how can we expand that out to more than dog, into a greater sense of, you know, all living beings?
My friend and someone who I admire very much, Relive, has a book coming out this fall about relationships between us and other than human. And at first it was going to be about pets, because he wrote the book Last Child in the Woods in Richard Louv, and he helped start the Children in Nature Network. But he found that modern people couldn't get their head around the connection idea, because we lost nature connection. He's like, we got to get it back, and we got to get it back at all levels in society all over the world right now, because that's what'll save the day. And it just went over people's heads. And as you heard me say earlier, it's so simple, people walk right over it. They're looking for the grandiose, complex design solution, and the solution is really closer to home, you know? It's in our ancient self, and our ancient self bonds with the dog. It bonds with the cat, and the communication that happens there. So this beautiful little being, Bella, has been a big part of our workshop this week, because we've decided to do away with remembrance of time, because when people look at their watch, the next thing they do is rude, my old Bushman friend told me, which is true. So we decided at this course, which we often do with connection-based courses, that we won't tell the participants what time the next piece starts, but we'll call them in with a wolf howl. And Bella has been wonderful, and she's found her place in the village, you know, so she very proudly gets in her body and just lets out this beautiful howl, and everybody's become teary-eyed in love with Bella over that moment, because you can see and sense that she's part of the pack. And it's activating an awareness of this ancient relationship that we all share, you know, us as humans, but us with our animals, which then suddenly extends to the trees and the birds and the plants around us, you know. So that's what I really feel she's brought this week, and she walks with more pride because she has a place in the village now, you know, and it's just really fun to have her be part of it. Yeah.
Jon, us humans, we tend to see our differences rather than our commonalities, but you speak very movingly for me about our shared DNA, about the neurological system that we all have, and that ancient remembering. Can you explain to our permaculture media viewers a little bit about that commonality of DNA and who we are as, you know, beings with this ancient nervous system, and what it means to us when we begin to rediscover how to use it properly?
Properly.
Fully.
Fully.
Fully is a better word.
Yeah. Activate it to its full potential.
Yes.
I like to say it like this because I think it's a confusing thing. The nervous system is fairly complex, right? And it overwhelms us the moment we start to picture it and visualize all the things that it can do. So let's step back a little bit. You know, when you're really thirsty, and then you get some good water, and it's just that right temperature, and then you drink it with consciousness, you know that this being is designed to have water. You know it, right? In the same way, when we're really hungry and we get just that right food that really feeds us beautifully, and we honor that food and we take the time to taste it, you know that we're designed to eat, right? Well, our nervous system basically eats and it drinks. And it's really if designed is the right word. That might be a stretch for some people, but it's designed for something. And what is it designed for? What are these eyes really for? What are these ears for? What is the taste, the taste and the olfactory, this sense of smell, and the tactile, but also the proprioceptive, that in our body that lets us move, which we only reserve for dance or performing arts now, right? But this part of us that becomes the snake when we talk about it, or the vestibular system, that kind of keeps us all in right relationship in the framework of ourselves. When all of these things are communicating together, what's generated in the consciousness as a field? And there's so much research on it, whether it's coming from mindfulness or it's coming from neuroscience or it's coming from psychology or sociology. It's well understood that this nervous system wants nature. This nervous system nourishes from it. Right now what's happening is that our eyes take in built landscapes or, induced landscapes on media, a game or a book. And our ears take in sounds that were made by humans or designed by humans. So the sight and the sounds don't quite match up, right? And so nothing integrates internally. It doesn't all make sense to the nervous system in that unconscious way. But when we see a bird alarming, and when we hear it alarming, we feel it in our gut alarming, quite literally. This nerve bed right here activates when a raven's upset. Shouting about a hawk coming into the territory, or when a small songbird has a nest robber nearby. You can feel it literally in your own nervous system. When all that integrates, and then we tell the story, if we activate what we use in creative arts, and we tell the story, whether it's reliving an experience in the forest, or telling the story of something we saw, if we activate the nervous system the way so many ancient peoples do, then all of that stuff integrates. And I say there's always two halves to the connection model. There's the nature experience side of it, and then there's the integration of it, which is the people side of it. So when I'm with my friends in the Kalahari, these ancient San people, one of the oldest cultures on the earth, every day they're all out doing things on the land, and every night they're back around the fire, telling the story, processing the film, and activating the nerve net of the group consciousness. And they are some of the most connected people I've ever met. Now what we do in modern times is we take people who don't have that background and we do simple things, like we send them on little errands in nature, we bring them back and get them to tell the story, and we awaken all the senses. And we do it in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. And what ends up happening is that they have a transformational experience. And they're totally, utterly surprised by it because, well, wait, we didn't talk about anything deeply philosophical. We didn't have to do any kind of extra thing that required some esoteric teaching. We just went out, had fun like little kids. We came back in and we shared it with exuberance, and we suddenly remembered. And all of a sudden our hearts just open. And that doesn't make logical sense to our experience, but that's what happens. And if it's done regularly, then all of a sudden our ethic for care just comes pouring out of us, and we want to take care of this earth. And that's the prescription.
Thank you, Jon.
Mm-hmm.